At the start of the chapter, I definitely didn't see this coming. All for one, he's definitely one of the pettiest villains in manga history, period. And now I'm pretty sure, Deku just, seeing this with his own eyes, being helpless, that's going to scar him mentally, and he's going to have a lot of turmoil going forward in dealing with it. Welcome back to the Red Stool, and today we're talking about My Hero Academia, chapter 315, Platitudes. So, to start off the chapter, we pick up where we left off with Deku. He's closing in on Lady Nagant, but of course she called out Overhaul so he can kind of serve as a distraction and a little bit of like an emotional trigger to kind of throw Deku off his game a little bit, give him more things to think about, because right now he's already trying to interchange between all of his quirks, and if she can just throw a couple more wrenches in his plan, all she needs is a few seconds to get off that shot that could take him down so she can capture him and take him back to All for One. And I actually kind of like it. It's like this crazy, almost like hero on hero combat to a degree. And I say that because, we know Lady Nagant, she was a member of Hero Society, a big part of the safety committee. And, her, as they said, oh, that right arm of yours is going to help serve, protect, and uphold society. So she knows basically everything there is to being a hero, or what the world wants you to present yourself to be a hero. So she's kind of using that against Deku in this fight a little bit. She's like, okay, I got an Overhaul right here. Now that I brought him out, he has to think about Overhaul. But also, if I were to kill Overhaul, he has to stop that. He has to prioritize human life. And she knows it. So she's like, okay. She calls out Overhaul and she's like, all right, now I'm going to shoot him. And then he's going to have to save him, which will give me more time to actually take him down. And it's a smart plan. It's super cold-blooded, and it just, it also shows how good of a hero she is, that she's able to predict, like, okay, like, I know how to break you apart from the inside. Lady Nagant, she kind of has this inner monologue where she's like, yeah, because if I bring him out and then I kill him and you don't save him, that's going to haunt you, for the rest of your days. Those tend to really stick with you. So, I guess that's just showing us how damaged she is because of Hero Society and the things that she has to do. Also, just a little bit more of the weight that heroes actually have to hold. They're responsible for every life. It's capture the villain, unless, you're in Lady Nagant's situation where it's like, hey, we need you to, they don't need to be captured. They need to be killed because of what they know, but, do it out of the public's eye. So it's just showing how it's like all those layers she has like stacked in, like mentally, just being the perfect hero to the public, but then, also being the safety committee's, hitman, and it all just, is too conflicting. And then it just eroded her mental state away to where as though she hated Hero Society. And then on top of that, it's not like she can quit. So it just gives us more depth as to how, she was forced into a corner. And I like how it's flushed out. Like, she's not just some generic, I used to be a hero, but Hero Society is horrible and I have to stand up against it. These things are horrible. There's a lot of difference between her and someone like Dabi. Dabi, he has his reasons to hate Hero Society and for everything that is done to him. But Lady Nagant's, hers run a little bit deeper. It's not just from one perspective. It's shedding a whole new light on Hero Society as well. But, we know Deku, we know the motto plus ultra. He's not just going to take this laying down. So, of course, as she shoots at Overhaul, he uses Black Whip and he actually activates FaJin's quirk again. And we find out he's able to store up kinetic energy and then release it at whenever time period he chooses. So it's like he covers a lot of distance so quickly. Like he knocks Chikaisuke out the way. He uses Black Whip and redirects himself. So now he's got a better handle on things. I'm not going to say he definitely doesn't have anything perfected, but going forward, when he's in this attack mode, his main three quirks are going to be All for One, Black Whip and FaJin's quirk, just because they offer him the most mobility, power, and dexterity. So much so that he's actually able to use it to create like a fake 100% of One For All. Now, of course, he can't use 100% of the quirk, but in this mode, it's kind of like as Deku would say it, a short gap in between. Like, this is like a fake 100% that he can use right now. He'll be able to use, the power stored up inside of One For All just to use the air pressure, shoot through the air, the enhanced strength and speed. But of course, after he uses those big bursts with All For One, he can now use FaJin's quirk, since he stored up energy off of using that burst for All For One, to then release another burst of energy. So let's say he's just using the raw power of One For All, and he's doing one of his punch or kick attacks. Since he did that, he can now store up more energy inside of his body with FaJin's quirk. So now he can release another one rapid fire. So he can still use One For All, shoot himself at you, land a smash attack. But after he lands that smash attack, all that kinetic energy, he can reabsorb it into his body and then release it at any given time. So it'll make him a lot quicker, a lot stronger. So whatever he can do right now at his current 45%, he can absorb all the kinetic energy from those attacks and those movements and re-release them with FaJin's quirk. So it's kind of like, he can just add to it. Like, okay, this punch makes my next punch stronger. Kind of like that. And with Black Whip, he can use that in a many different ways. Of course, he can use it to not only just pull himself around, he can use it to grab people and, just controlling the situation in different ways. That's Black Whip is kind of that good middle ground between the two, because he can use it for movement as well. That way, if he's in the air, he can grab onto a building with Black Whip and then launch a smash attack. And then after that smash attack, absorb the kinetic energy with FaJin's quirk and then release another attack, all still while holding on to the building. Now, of course, once he's able to master like this little triple threat like attack he has going on with all three of those quirks, he can add to it. The next best thing would probably be to add float, so that way he can just hang in the air, launch his attacks, and then release float. But, he has to baby step his way. He's found his attack-centered trio right now, which is really good. And now he has this, Fox 100% is what he's calling it. And he's able to save, overhaul, and then he comes back, destroys the rifle on Lady Nagants' hand with another smash attack. And, now that she's basically disarmed and disabled, he has to enter in with his talk no jutsu. But what he does, he actually has a point. Like, he's like, hey, you succeeded in Hero Society, the top, but you've seen darkness as well. But in order to see that darkness, you have to know that there's light. Somebody inspired you to be a hero. You looked up to somebody, and everything you see right now, everything that Hero Society is that you hate, we can, basically, he's like, there's a future beyond that. Like, we can make a better future. We can be a better hero. And of course, he actually gets to her. Like, she has a moment where, her airwalk quirk is given out. So now she's falling, and he grabs her hand, and he's just looking at her, trying to get her to her former ways. He's like, hey, come back. Fight on our side, understand the hand you were dealt wasn't fair. And it's sweet because she like, what? This kid, he's the real deal. He can actually be a hero. And they have this sweet moment, but it's quickly ended because All For One, he activates another quirk that he gave her. And he says specifically, hey, in that contract I gave you, when I gave you Airwalk, I gave you a little something else, and it was a failsafe. In case you fail, it makes her explode. And, of course, this happens right in front of Deku. All For One, he's off in whatever hideout he's in, maybe UA. And he's just laughing to himself like, okay, you failed. I knew you were kind of fickle. Like, I understand, you switched up on Hero Society, but the same way you switched up on them is the same way you might switch up on me. So I I put that in there just in case you failed. It's okay. Once again, he's viewing people as tools to be manipulated. Kind of crazy to me because that sounds exactly like Overhaul. So it's kind of crazy that he just threw Overhaul away with her, because that ideology that they have, I feel like he really could have done something there with him. And I still feel like Overhaul would have been a better successor for the Demon Lord, but it's just my opinion. But not to take away from the moment, Lady Nagant, he activates his self-destruct within her. Deku, he's just there watching, and Hawks comes in and he catches her and he's like, hey, no, don't go dying on me, because I'm pretty sure they had some sort of relationship. Not to say like they were dating, but like they had to know each other. With Hawks being undercover in the league and Lady Nagant basically being their hitman, they had to know about each other just with their working together. Like, so obviously they probably care for each other. He was probably hurt to see the position that she was put in, but also he probably couldn't say anything because it's kind of one of those greater evil type of things. Everything that's going on with the League of Villains right now is, it means more than the shadowy, things that the safety committee is doing. So maybe once he was done there, he would have gone back to right the wrongs of the safety committee. But right now, he's holding Lady Nagant's body. If I'm being honest, I think she's going to die. Like, I think that was it for her. And, she just serves as that extra push for Deku. Now he knows that everything inside of Hero Society isn't the way it should be. And, there's a big need for change. Plus, I feel like Deku, this is going to, as Lady Nagant, it's almost like, I like it. Horikoshi, he threw some foreshadowing in there because she says every hero is in charge of every life that's in front of him, whether it be good or bad. And the ones that you don't save, they stick with you and it's going to keep you up at night. And of course, him watching her explode because All For One basically used her as a pawn, manipulated her, sent her to stop him. He feels he's going to feel directly obligated. Plus, he's just right there watching her blow up. There's nothing he could have done. This is probably the first time that he feels helpless. And I kind of wonder what that's going to entail for him, how he's going to react to that. And we know that Deku can have this, like, he can get angry. Like, he can have a moment where he gets angry and he snaps. That anger, I wonder if that anger is just going to lead him to go out like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm going to find you and I'm going to put an end to this. And if he's going to go into the fight with All For One, with all of that anger in his heart. So definitely something to watch out on, see how Deku reacts and takes it. But he's definitely going to be angry. And I definitely think when he faces All For One, that smile is going to disappear from his face. Kind of a sad end to the chapter. I think, that's probably the last we're going to be seeing of Lady Nagant. But, on a higher note, Deku, we know what the quirk is called. Well, Horikoshi actually didn't name it. It's just FaJin, or unless that's the name. Unless the name of the quirk is FaJin, but it's the ability to store up kinetic energy and release it whenever he pleases. Now, not the only drawback, but the major drawback to this is he can't supersede his body's limits. Now, we know he already has issues from destroying his arms and pushing himself too far with One For All. So he can't stockpiling that kinetic energy up in his body too much, or he'll destroy his body from the inside out again. It'll just be worse and he'll do it quicker. And honestly, I feel like after his fight with Shigaraki and All For One, he's probably gonna be no longer fit to be a hero. And I'm saying physically, like he'll no longer be able to physically be a hero. And if Horikoshi goes in a darker note, Deku could die after that battle. Or, if he's going to give us like the storybook ending, he could just end up retiring from being a hero because of his body and getting a job at like UA or some school teaching kids about being a hero and helping rebuild Hero Society that way. Because I think Deku would be a natural teacher just because of all the information he stockpiled. He knows so much, and that would be a great role for him to be in, just being a great teacher. So that's just my take on the chapter. Definitely let me know what you guys are feeling in the comments, if you have any questions or concerns. And also, I want to be interactive with you guys. So I know you probably noticed my new set lights, and I've been thinking maybe, I'll give, you guys some input with there too. If there are any specific colors you want to see up there, let me know and I will, or if you have any questions about any specific pops I have, definitely I'm open to talk to that. You can follow me on TikTok too. I post there regularly. I'm going to see y'all later. Peace.
Are you willing to die for those Christians? Do you really feel fly in true religion? Did you think you would survive 5.56s? You spin a band on a burner and died with it? 40 pointers on rollies, the time glisten. Superchargers on foreigns, we drive different. Are you willing to